This story follows Captain Adam Reeves and his crew aboard the Earth ship Axiom's Dawn as they face a tense crisis. A human diplomatic team on the planet Evenir has been taken hostage after a sudden coup. The crew must decide how to respond. Some want to strike hard and show Earth's power, while others plead for careful diplomacy. The stakes rise when a powerful weapon is brought to bear, cutting a moon, and later entire planets, in half as a warning. The story explores the brutal choices of war, the costs of power, and the weight of decisions that can shape entire worlds. The tone is intense, emotional, and cinematic, showing human strength and its consequences. The stars outside the viewport stretched into long streaks of light as the Axiom's Dawn raced through hyperspace. Captain Adam Reeves stood at the center of the bridge, his eyes steady but his mind heavy. Around him, the crew gathered, their faces lit by the cold blue glow of the holographic displays. No one spoke for a long moment. Then the message came. It was short, barely more than a whisper across the ship's failing communication link. The human diplomatic team on Evenir had been taken hostage. A coup had erupted. The humans were trapped. The silence deepened. Then it broke as voices rose, tense and sharp. Adam listened. He had seen this before. The crew would split. Some would demand immediate and harsh action. Others would push for caution, for negotiation. Kberis Kane was the first to speak. Standing tall near the tactical station, his voice was cold and clear. Captain, Ivanir's actions are an act of war. The only proper response is complete destruction. We have the weapons. The Axiom's Dawn carries enough firepower to reduce their defenses and cities to ash. We should not hesitate. His words hung in the air, a challenge and a warning. From the other side of the room came a firm, sharp voice. Liera Jones, second in command, leaned forward. Her movements were fluid, graceful as if she moved in lower gravity. Kberis, you speak of genocide. Hundreds of innocent lives, diplomats and their families, are at risk. We don't even know the full situation on the ground. We must try diplomacy first. Violence could kill them all. Kberis's pale eyes narrowed. They chose violence by taking our people hostage. They show no respect for treaties. This is a test of strength. Liera's voice rose. A test that will destroy thousands of lives if you get your way. You want war. I want to save our people. Around the strategy table, opinions divided. Some stood with Kberis, believing humanity must show its power. Others joined Liera, fearing that reckless force would bring disaster. Captain Reeves watched them all carefully. His crew represented the many faces of humanity's reach into space, the genetically enhanced, the diplomats, the soldiers, the scientists. Each had their own hopes and fears. Navigator Vinny I.A. Garwal stepped forward beside Liera. Captain, the treaties we follow forbid bombardment in hostage situations. We should attempt negotiation, learn what the new regime wants. That is why we have diplomats. Kberis laughed, cold and bitter. Negotiation? With terrorists who see humans as bargaining chips? That is naive. Before Vinny I.A. could respond, Chief Engineer Amy Yakunkwa's deep voice filled the room. We have seen what happens when we show weakness. Other factions will take hostages if we hesitate. Sometimes, the only way to stop violence is to remind them who controls the strongest fleet. Marcos Dea Cruz, communications officer, shook his head. Our strength comes from trust. If we start glassing planets every time there's trouble, trust will vanish. We'll fight wars on many fronts. Science officer Hikaru Tanaka added quietly, the previous government kept peace with Earth for nearly 4 decades. The coup was by extremists who want to expel all aliens. They are xenophobic and dangerous. But if we act with violence now, we will only strengthen their propaganda that humans are conquerors. The room grew tense. Captain Reeves held up a hand. I understand the stakes. His voice was calm but firm. But we have no direct communication with Earth Command for another 12 hours. This region is too distant for real-time consultation. The decision is ours. A heavy silence followed. The crew faced the impossible choice alone. Adam turned to the mission at hand. We also have another obligation. In 8 days, we are to deliver an agricultural advisory team to the colony on Sinai. If this crisis drags on, what happens to them? That is not our concern, Kberis said bluntly. Adam ignored him. His mind raced. The crew's factions were clear. Diplomats and scientists on one side. Soldiers and engineers on the other. Even the tactical officers split. The hyperspace corridor pulsed with strange colors as the axioms dawn neared the edge of faster-than-light travel. The transition back to normal space was near. Suddenly, the viewports changed. Evenir hung before them, a shining jewel. Purple and gold clouds wrapped the planet, its oceans gleaming jade and silver. The atmosphere glowed faintly, alive with color. But the moon captured Adam's attention. It was a dull yellow rock, scarred with craters, orbiting silently. Several hundred humans were down there. His people. Maybe already dead. The bridge erupted with new reports. Encrypted military signals, hostile communications. Words like purification and cleansing echoed through the ship's systems. Adam barely heard them. His eyes stayed fixed on the moon. An idea took shape. The main cannon, he said quietly, breaking the tense argument. Amy's eyes widened. It hasn't fired at full power in 3 years. We've never tested the full yield. Adam turned to the viewport again. The moon floated innocent and quiet. Children wished upon it. Lovers met beneath its light. It had done nothing wrong. Prepare the main cannon, Adam commanded. Maximum yield. Target the center of the moon. A stunned silence filled the bridge. Then something passed through the faces of the crew. Surprise. Approval. Even awe. Kberis's cold smile appeared for the first time. Liera's horror slowly gave way to respect. Adam had not chosen a side. He had created a new path between them. The argument ended. All stations, prepare for weapons test, the captain said, returning to his chair. Let's show the pure Evenir movement what happens when Earth's diplomats are touched. The countdown began. Far below, on Evenir, the new supreme leader Hitsar sat on a throne once held by kings and queens for thousands of years. The throne room was ancient, carved from stone and decorated with glowing green gems that mapped the stars. Candles burned, filling the air with a scent that comforted the people of Evenir. The leaders of the revolution sat around the throne, armed and tense. Hostage diplomats from many species were held behind soldiers with rifles. Hitsar's gray fingers traced the armrests, feeling the weight of history and power. Around him, the mood was strange. The coup had succeeded. The old rulers were overthrown. Their enemies captured. The revolution seemed unstoppable. But then a soldier burst through the doors, eyes wide with terror. Supreme Leader, he gasped, gravity waves detected. Massive displacement in orbit. A ship appeared suddenly. Human. Huge. The room froze. The light outside the windows changed. Night was gone. A harsh, white light flooded the room. Then the impossible happened. The moon, their moon, was broken in half. One side remained, glowing white-hot. The other half was gone, scattered into space. Planets and moons began to explode silently, vaporizing into clouds of rock and metal. The humans were not attacking Evenir. They were destroying everything else in the system. The revolution's leaders panicked. Hitsar watched, frozen, as their power crumbled before an enemy who did not negotiate, who showed strength in destruction, and mercy in the choice to spare their world, for now. He realized that this war was not about politics or treaties. It was a lesson. Do not touch Earth's diplomats. And if you do, be prepared to lose worlds. The bridge of the Axiom's dawn was alive with activity. The main cannon had just fired. The moon's shattered remains hung in space like a warning carved in rock and fire. Captain Adam Reeves stood quietly, his gaze locked on the glowing debris. Around him, the crew shifted between awe and unease. The weapon had worked. Their warning had been sent. Kberis Kane's eyes gleamed with approval. That shot, he said softly, should end any doubt. We hold the power to protect our people. And to punish those who threaten them. Liara Jones crossed her arms, her face tense but thoughtful. Yes, it shows power. But at what cost? That was a moon, home to nothing now but shattered rock. What if the pure Eveneer movement responds with violence? What if they kill the hostages? Adam turned to her. That's a risk we must take. The alternative is to do nothing, and lose more lives to their cruelty. The communications officer, Marcos Dea Cruz, interrupted. Captain, we've received a transmission from the Eveneer leadership. They're sending a message. The bridge fell silent as the message played. The tone was grim. The Supreme Leader Hitzar declared their unwillingness to surrender, their belief that humans were conquerors who would bring ruin. He promised resistance. Adam's jaw tightened. They don't understand the message we just sent. Amy Yakumkwa moved to the engineering console. Captain, the main cannon's power reserves have dropped significantly. We won't be able to fire that weapon again soon. Good, Adam said. We don't want to waste it. The threat alone should be enough. Yet in the pit of his stomach, a cold knot grew. The pure Eveneer movement was dangerous. Fanatical. They had taken hostages, declared war, and now their leaders spoke of fighting to the last breath. The captain knew that strength was not just about weapons. It was about knowing when to use them, and when to show mercy. Prepare for orbital scans, he ordered. We need to know everything about that moon's debris. We can't risk it falling on cities below. As the crew scrambled to carry out orders, Adam turned his attention back to the diplomacy team in cryosleep. They were humanity's hope for peaceful expansion, scientists who carried knowledge and goodwill. We have to resolve this quickly, he said aloud. For their sake, and for the future. Suddenly, the bridge alarms blared. Hikaru Tanaka's voice cut through the noise. Captain, multiple incoming signals detected. Hostile signatures. The Eveneer planetary defense grid is activating. The view screens filled with fast-moving shapes, missiles, fighters, and satellites powering up for war. Kberis smiled. They have chosen their path. Liara's eyes narrowed. And we must be ready to stop them. Adam nodded. Raise shields. Prepare defensive systems. But hold fire until I give the order. Tension filled the bridge. The Axiom's dawn was a symbol of Earth's power, but it was not an invincible fortress. The crew knew the danger they faced. One wrong move could ignite a war that spread across the stars. Suddenly, a bright flash lit the room as the ship's sensors registered a violent shockwave. The Axiom's dawn shook. Impact on the aft shields, Amy reported. They're testing our defenses. Return a warning shot, Adam ordered. Kberis moved swiftly, targeting an enemy satellite. A pulse of energy blasted out, disabling the weapon platform. On the bridge, relief mixed with rising fear. The fight was beginning. Liara stepped forward. Captain, the hostages could be caught in this crossfire. We must find a way to save them. Adam's voice was steady. Agreed. Open all diplomatic channels. Attempt communication with the hostage site. Minutes passed with no response. Then, a crackling voice broke through the static. This is Supreme Leader Hitzar of Eveneer. You will cease all aggressive actions, or the hostages will die. Adam met the voice with calm. We have demonstrated our strength. Your people must surrender and release all hostages immediately. Hitzar's reply was cold. We will not bow to invaders. Your threats will only strengthen our resolve. The bridge fell into heavy silence. Vinaya Garwal spoke quietly. Captain, the situation is worsening. They may harm the hostages out of desperation. Adam clenched his fists. We cannot allow that. Prepare boarding teams. We will attempt a rescue. The crew moved with precision. The plan was risky: deploy specially trained units to the planet's surface, avoid the main defenses, and free the captives. Amy checked the ship's systems. We have enough fuel and power for a short atmospheric drop, but it will expose us to heavy fire. Adam nodded. Make it fast and silent. As the Axioms Dawn prepared for the operation, the planet below was filled with chaos. The shattered moon hung in the sky, a reminder of the humans' power and warning. Hitzar paced in the command room, watching the planet's defenders scramble. He knew they faced a force unlike any before. Outside, the skies were alive with the flashing lights of battle. Suddenly, the Axioms Dawn released a small shuttle from its bay. The rescue team descended through the atmosphere, dodging fire and debris. On the ground, the hostage compound was surrounded by armed guards, but the revolutionaries were disorganized, shaken by the destruction around them. The rescue team moved fast. They neutralized guards silently, breached the holding cells, and began freeing the diplomats. Back on the ship, Adam watched the live feed, every moment stretching like an eternity. Then, the impossible happened. An explosion rocked the compound. The hostages screamed. Contact, a team member shouted. They found us. The bridge erupted with tension. The rescue mission had been discovered. Adam's voice was firm. Extraction now. Get them out. The shuttle raced back to the ship, dodging enemy fire. The Axioms Dawn opened its bay doors. The shuttle docked safely. The hostages poured out, exhausted and shaken but alive. Relief flooded the bridge. Liera wiped a tear. We saved them, she whispered. Adam looked at the faces of his crew. The divisions remained, but in this moment, hope held them together. The mission was far from over. The war with the pure Eveneer movement had only just begun. But the message was clear. Earth would not be threatened without consequence. And Captain Adam Reeves was ready to bear that burden. The tension in the Axioms Dawn's bridge lingered like a storm cloud. The rescue had succeeded, but the war was far from over. Captain Adam Reeves stood with his arms crossed, staring out the viewport at the broken moon still drifting above Eveneer. The shattered rock was a silent monument to power and warning. The human crew had sent a message the galaxy would not forget. Kberis Kane leaned against a console, a cold smile on his lips. We showed them what happens to those who threaten Earth's people. Next, we must prepare for retaliation. Liera Jones shook her head, her voice tired but firm. Retaliation risks losing what we fought to protect. The hostages are safe now, but the people of Eveneer suffer. We must find a way to end this without further destruction. Adam nodded slowly. You both make good points. But this is not just a battle for territory or power. It is a fight for humanity's place among the stars. How we act now will shape the future. The communications officer, Marcos Dea Cruz, spoke up. Captain, we're receiving strange signals from deep space. Unknown origin. They don't match any known species or technology. Adam's brow furrowed. Show me. The main screen shifted. A ghostly wave of data appeared, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Hikaru Tanaka leaned forward, analyzing the signals. This is different. Not from this system. Possibly from outside known space. Amy Yakunkwa added, could be a trap. Or a warning from another power. Adam's mind raced. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers beyond their understanding. The pure Eveneer movement was just one piece of a larger puzzle. We can't lose focus, he said. Prepare for possible new threats, but keep priority on Eveneer. The ship's alarm sounded again. Sensors picked up multiple incoming vessels. Not from Eveneer. Unknown ships, closing fast. Unknown ships entering system, VIN-EIA reported, eyes wide. Adam turned sharply. Battle stations. Raise shields. Identify. The new ships were fast and sleek, their design unlike anything the crew had seen. They moved with deadly grace, weapons charging. Kberis smiled darkly. We've stirred the hornet's nest. Liera clenched her fists. We need answers, not more enemies. The alien vessels opened fire. Energy blast streaked past the Axiom's dawn, testing its shields. The ship shuddered under the assault. Return fire, Adam commanded. Target the lead ship. The ship's weapons roared, sending beams of light ripping into the attackers. One ship exploded in a shower of sparks. But the enemy was relentless. More vessels arrived, surrounding them in a deadly dance. Adam's voice was calm but commanding. We need a plan. Kberis, coordinate attack formations. Liera, monitor communications. Marcos, try to establish contact. Amid the chaos, Marcos focused. A crackled voice came through the static, strange and alien. This is the Korvax Collective. Leave this system or face annihilation. Adam's jaw tightened. The Korvax were a feared race, known for their brutal efficiency. They did not negotiate. Why are you attacking us? Marcos asked, voice steady. The reply was cold. Your presence threatens the balance. Surrender or be destroyed. Liera's face paled. This is worse than we feared. Kberis growled. We cannot back down now. Adam weighed their options. The Korvax ships outnumbered them. Their weapons were powerful. But Earth's technology was advanced and the Axiom's dawn was no ordinary ship. Prepare for full combat mode, Adam said. This is not just about Eveneer anymore. It's survival. The battle intensified. Explosions rocked the ship. Systems flickered under fire. Crew members shouted orders, moving like a well-oiled machine amid the chaos. Suddenly, a massive blast hit the starboard engine. The ship lurched violently. Engine failure, Amy reported. Losing power on that side. Divert all power to shields and weapons, Adam ordered. We can't afford to lose propulsion. The Korvax fleet closed in for a final strike. At that moment, a brilliant light exploded from the Axiom's dawn's main cannon. The blast tore through the lead Korvax ship, ripping it apart. Cheers erupted on the bridge. But Adam remained focused. We have to use their moment of weakness, he said. Push them back. The crew worked together, their training and skill shining through the crisis. Slowly, the Korvax ships retreated, limping away from the battle. As silence returned, Adam allowed himself a brief breath. The ship was damaged, the crew shaken, but alive. Liera approached him quietly. This war is bigger than Eveneer, Captain. We need allies, not just weapons. Adam nodded. You're right. We must prepare for what's coming. He looked again at the broken moon outside, a symbol of both their power and their peril. We will protect Earth's people, he vowed. No matter the cost. The Axiom's dawn drifted in the shadow of Eveneer, its hull scarred but its spirit unbroken. Captain Adam Reeves stood before the command console, contemplating the fragile calm that had settled over the ship. The battle with the Korvax fleet was over for now, but the war was far from finished. Around him, the crew worked tirelessly. Damage reports came in. Repairs would take days. The ship's medical bay was busy treating the wounded. Liara Jones approached quietly, her eyes heavy but determined. "Captain, the diplomatic team is awake now. They're shaken but ready to help." Adam nodded. "Good. They represent our hope for peace." Vinaya Garwal added, "There's a message waiting from Earth Command." Finally, a chance to coordinate. Adam's gaze hardened. "Let's hear it." The transmission crackled to life. The Earth Council's voice was grave. "Captain Reeves, the situation has escalated beyond our expectations. The Pure Evenir movement and the Korvax Collective are destabilizing the system. You have our full support." Adam felt a surge of relief. At last, they were not alone. The message continued. "We authorize the use of any means necessary to secure the hostages and restore order. But we urge caution, this is not just a battle for Evenir. It is a test for all humanity." Adam stood straighter. "Understood. We will proceed." Meanwhile, the rescued diplomats began briefing the captain. They described the chaos on the ground, the suffering of innocent civilians caught between the revolutionaries and the planetary defense forces. "We must end this quickly," Liara said. "Every day the system remains unstable, more lives are lost." Adam turned to Amy Yakunkwa. "What's our status on repairs?" Amy's face was grim. "We'll be operational in 72 hours, but we can't fully engage the main cannon again until then." Kberis Kane stepped forward, eyes sharp. "We can't wait. The Pure Evenir movement will regroup and strengthen their defenses. We must strike while they're weak." Adam looked at the divided faces around him. The ship's crew still struggled between war and diplomacy, between fear and resolve. "We need a plan that combines both," he said. "Strength to protect our people, and mercy to build alliances." Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected an anomaly. A small vessel moving quickly toward Ivanir's surface. "Unknown craft," Vinaya reported. "No transponder." Adam frowned. "Prepare intercept." As the vessel came into view, the crew gasped. It was a refugee ship, packed with civilians fleeing the conflict. The captain's voice softened. "Open a channel. We must help them." The ship responded, carrying desperate voices begging for aid. Families torn apart, cities burning below. Adam felt a heavy weight settle in his chest. This was more than politics or strategy. This was about saving lives. "Prepare medical teams and supplies," he ordered. "We'll escort them to safety." As the Axiom's Dawn moved to protect the refugees, the war on Evenir grew worse. On the planet's surface, Supreme Leader Hitzar struggled to maintain control. His revolution was crumbling under the weight of destruction and loss. "We are losing support," his advisor warned. "The people are scared. The hostages have been rescued. Our legitimacy is questioned." Hitzar's face was hard. "We must show strength. The humans have shattered our world. We will not bow." But cracks appeared in the movement. Soldiers began to desert. Allies turned away. Fear grew faster than hope. In the throne room, the shattered moon still hung in the sky, a silent accusation. Back aboard the Axiom's Dawn, the crew prepared for their next move. Adam gathered his officers. "We cannot let this spiral into endless war," he said. "We must find a way to end this." Liara stepped forward. "I have an idea. The Pure Evenir movement fears Earth's power, but they also crave recognition. What if we offer them a chance? A ceasefire, conditional on releasing hostages and halting aggression." Kberis shook his head. "They would never accept. They see that as weakness." Adam considered. "Maybe. But we must try. Diplomacy can be a weapon as powerful as any cannon." The decision made, Marcos sent the message, an offer of ceasefire, peace talks, and humanitarian aid. Hours passed with no reply. The tension on the ship was unbearable. Then, the communication console lit up. A message from Hitsar. The Supreme Leader's voice was weary but defiant. "We accept your offer, Captain Reeves. But know this, we do not trust your kind. The scars of war run deep. Relief and caution mixed in the bridge's air. The fragile peace was a chance. A moment to rebuild before the darkness returned." Adam looked once more at the broken moon outside. It was a reminder of the cost of conflict and the price of power. "We will honor this chance," he said quietly. "For the future of humanity, and all who share the stars." The fragile ceasefire held, like glass stretched thin over a widening chasm. Captain Adam Reeves paced the bridge, every moment weighted with uncertainty. Outside, the shattered moon still floated, a cold reminder of the price of power and pride. The Axiom's dawn moved cautiously, its sensors scanning for threats as diplomats and soldiers prepared for peace talks. The rescued hostages recovered quietly, their faces marked by fear but also hope. Liera Jones stood beside Adam. "The ceasefire is holding, but I don't trust how easily they agreed. This feels like a pause before a storm." Adam nodded. "We both know that peace is fragile. But we must try. It's the only way forward." The day of the talks arrived. The conference room aboard the Axiom's Dawn was tense. Representatives from Earth, the pure Eveneer movement, and other species filled the space. Hitsar, the supreme leader of the revolution, entered with measured steps. His gray skin was pale, eyes tired but burning with fierce determination. "Let us speak honestly," Adam began. "This war has shattered your world. We have shown the cost of aggression. But we are here to find a path forward." Hitsar's voice was steady. "Your weapons destroyed our moon and shattered our planets. You showed us strength, but also fear. Fear of what we could become." Liera stepped forward. "Your people deserve peace and prosperity. Not endless war. Together, we can rebuild. Share knowledge, technology, and hope." The room was heavy with silence. Then, one by one, voices spoke. Some demanded justice. Others called for forgiveness. The debate was raw and real, reflecting centuries of pain and pride. Suddenly, a sharp alarm sounded. The ship shook violently. "Attack!" Marcos shouted. "Korvax vessels entering system. They've returned." Panic rippled through the room. The fragile talks shattered as weapon stations powered up and the crew scrambled to battle stations. Adam's voice cut through the chaos. "Hold the line. Protect the diplomats. We will not let war win again." The Korvax fleet struck hard, their weapons tearing into the Axiom's Dawn. Shields flared and dimmed. Systems failed. But the crew fought with unyielding courage. Kbera's coordinated defense, Liera led emergency medical teams, and Adam commanded with steady hands. Amid the battle, the diplomats clung to hope. The talks resumed in the war-torn room, a testament to the human will to survive and find peace even in the darkest times. Hours passed. The Korvax fleet weakened, forced to retreat by Earth's relentless defense and superior technology. Silence fell. Adam stood, battered but unbroken. "This war is far from over, but today, we have shown that strength and diplomacy can coexist." Hitsar nodded. "Perhaps there is hope yet. For Eveneer. For Earth. For all of us." The shattered moon still hung in the sky, a scar on the universe. But beneath its broken face, a new future was beginning. Captain Adam Reeves looked out at the stars and knew the hardest battles were still ahead. But he was ready. For the survival of humanity, for the hope of peace, and for the worlds yet to come.